And then Maya was just kind of held captive. She's like Ronnie Spector in Phil Spector's house. She can't do anything. Wow.
By the way, that's a pretty fucked up comparison, because for those that don't know, Phil Spector was like convicted for murder, the murder of Lana Clark. Ronnie was his wife, and they had like a pretty tumultuous marriage or relationship. But it's fucked up to make this comparison of this relationship, because first of all, we weren't there, we don't know. And to just put that out there when he's gone, he can't defend himself, he can't respond to this, that's messed up, in my opinion. Wow. But okay.
In 2020, Henry learned she was pregnant. Oh. According to a source close to Henry, Payne gave her an ultimatum. Liam sent Maya a long message saying it's either get an abortion or stay with him, or raise the kid alone, and he will not acknowledge either of them, the source says. This was a surprise to Maya because Liam wanted to have a family and they were trying for a kid. Ultimately, she agreed to terminate the pregnancy. Huh. This is her sources, right? It's not directly Maya. I don't know what to make of this, but okay. They had done some family planning. Okay, so she got pregnant. Liam tells her, "Hey, according to her, you need to have an abortion, or I'm not going to be part of your life or part of any of this." And she's like, "Well, she was very heartbroken by that because they had planned to have a baby." You mean to tell me that you're saying that this man is abusive, drug addict, running around after you with an axe, all this shit, and you still wanted to have a baby with him? After several other disturbing episodes, some of which Henry would later describe in a novel based on their relationship, including instances when Payne allegedly chased Henry with an axe, pushed her down a flight of stairs, and revealed sexting conversation with strangers to her by accident, broadcasting them on to their TV. The couple split in May 2022. She was just tired, the source says. Babysitting Liam was exhausting. Maya spent years helping and staying by the side of Liam, who in return wouldn't get help or seek help for his drug use, violent outbursts, and addictions. So she was a babysitter. And this, again, this is a source. This isn't Maya directly speaking. Like, help me understand this. On drugs, he became unrecognizable. I kept hoping each incident would be a wake-up call. By the time they broke up, Henry had learned the full extent of Payne's drug addiction. It was normal for Liam to do cocaine, ketamine, MDMA, and pharmaceutical pills, Xanax, and pain pills, the source close to Henry says via email. Then he got into smoking heroin. So again, like Rolling Stone keeps saying that this is the source. This isn't Maya Henry directly. Like, why isn't she saying this shit directly? While Henry declined to answer specific questions regarding Payne, she commented on their relationship as a whole in a written statement to Rolling Stone. This was someone I loved very much, she wrote. Initially, it was the drug use and addictions that tore us apart. Anyone who has been with an addict understands how difficult it is. While I loved him deeply, he didn't things that hurt me in ways I'll never fully understand. And he continued to hurt me years after we broke up. On drugs, he became someone unrecognizable. While I loved him deeply, he did things that hurt me in ways I'll never fully understand, and he continues to hurt me years after we broke up. On drugs, he became someone unrecognizable, so different from his sober self. I kept hoping each incident would be a wake-up call for him to get help, but it never was. I tried to be there for him. I loved him so much that I convinced myself I could fix things. And this is a difficult situation to be in. Like, not, for people that are there. But my question is this, Maya. You just made this statement, but yet you have somebody who is a source. You made this statement for Rolling Stone, then you have somebody who's a source. Like, why not just answer the questions? And not only that, you're willing to disclose a bunch of shit. Like, where are the receipts for all these things? Because, I mean, there's already this like legal stuff that was happening. I just feel like he's not here to defend himself. You know what I mean? And this is her experience. So I'm not here to say otherwise because it's her experience. I don't know. I wasn't there. We weren't part of that. But I wonder about this and I question it all. And I also question the fact that you're disparaging his name now that he's dead. Okay. I put myself into situations that were unsafe and harmful, ignoring every red flag. Henry continues. I knew there were parts of himself he was struggling with, parts of his identity he wasn't ready to fully face. Oh my God, guys. Even without our relationship, in the end, it wasn't just the betrayals or the addictions that broke us. It was the realization that I had spent years in something that was never what I thought it was. I don't fault him for his struggles. No, but you shame him. Like, what do you think this is? The source is close to Henry says she never reported Payne to the police for his drug use or blowouts. Yeah, why didn't you? Because I'm just saying, like, why not? Liam had a lot of deeply personal trauma Maya was aware of that occurred well before he joined One Direction, the source says. See, here comes with the source. When he got violent, the thought was never that he should be sent to jail. He needed help or get support from an institution so he could get to the root of the problem. Yeah, and I think people like started bullying him and trolling him online. And what's crazy is that there's still a lot of people that are trolling. Like now they're not, he's gone, but they're trolling the fans. I noticed that too. Payne revealed himself to be a young man unmoored and grasping for some semblance of identity after more than a decade in a pop machine. Regarding his lack of new music, Payne said that he was finding it difficult to write songs that drew to his life, which he described as vastly confused for a boy who's been locked in hotel rooms since he was 15 years old. Feigning happiness in public, struggling in private. Payne flew to Argentina last fall on a routine matter. Foreigners renewing U.S. visas need to leave the States and sit for their renewal interviews at a U.S. embassy or consulate abroad. While people typically return to their home countries to do this, Payne chose Buenos Aires, where he could also see his former bandmate Haran in concert. Payne had a good friend, Rogelio Roger Norris, who lived in Argentina too, although he didn't stay with Roger, and that was his good friend. They had met at a party in 2020 and became so close that Payne once posted a Snapchat denying rumors that he and financier were romantically involved. Before his arrival at Casa Sur, Payne stayed at a Argentinian estate owned by a friend of Norris, a potential enthusiast named Gonzalo Avendano. Norris met with Rolling Stone. Here we go. Norris met with Rolling Stone for several interviews in Buenos Aires. At the time, he was still worried about how prosecutors might charge him in connection with Payne's death, and he spoke carefully, moving between on-the-record and off-the-record conversations. He described sharing a tight personal bond with Payne that never became professional, despite all the times they spent together. Okay, and that's to be disputed, of course, but whatever. Notice 4 years older than Payne. Oh, I didn't even know he was older than Liam. Okay. Characterized their friendship as having something of an odd couple quality. Notice has never used drugs, he says, and was determined to participate in sober activities with Payne. Including hours and hours of bowling when Payne lived in Florida. Yeah, but you knew estos 6 gramos son de la buena, right? Like these 6 grams are good ones. Like you knew what Liam wanted, but yeah, you never did drugs. All right. He never partied. He never did anything. We would both offer a lot of emotional support, Notice says. That was the core of our relationship. I was going through a lot of stuff with my girlfriend and family. We talk a lot about our friendships, our relationships, and how to go about them and how we were feeling. Notice once selected as one of Forbes 30 under 30, has no background in the music industry. He previously supplied cap to build Argentinian power plants. The receptionist at the hotel where Payne died, Esteban Grassi, suggested in a statement provided to the Argentinian judge overseeing the investigation into Payne's death that Notice presented himself as Payne's manager. But Notice maintained that he never held a position, nor was he in charge of Payne's finances. Notice has contested being Payne's manager in interviews with Rolling Stone and in legal filings. Nevertheless, he was regularly by Payne's side during the last 2 weeks of the singer's life. I was his friend, Notice says. I wasn't a doctor. I wasn't a psychiatrist. I wasn't his legal guardian. I never had any control of that. I wasn't his manager. I wasn't his father. You can only do so much. Outwardly, when Payne arrived in Argentina on September 30th, he seemed like the jolly, winsome former One Direction heartthrob fans knew. He posed for photos with fans and posted Snapchats about how much he adored Cassidy, his girlfriend of 2 years, whom he'd met at the Charleston, South Carolina bar where she worked in 2022. Privately, he was still struggling. He spent much of the 2023 in and out of rehab. His behavior was volatile, sources say, seeking out drugs, sexting fans, and hiring sex workers. Notice in his own written statement provided to the judge, claimed Payne's addiction hit a new low in 2023, including a severe overdose that left him close to death. That same year, Payne and Cassidy split briefly. Henry, with whom he'd stay in touch, saw him smoking a substance, possibly crack, during a FaceTime call, according to a source. So wait a minute. So while Maya had, I thought she broke up, she walked away from this situation, she still remained in contact with Liam Payne while he was with Kate Cassidy? Like, for what? Girl, you're over here saying a bunch of things. Like, why would you stay in contact with this man? Am I off about, I just feel like it's off, because of what she's portraying. She's portraying him to be this, really horrible guy, and yet you still are having contact with him while he's with another girl. I don't know. All right. Just a question. Okay. That December, the source claims Payne sent Henry graphic images of himself and an intimate photo of Henry taken during their engagement that she thought he deleted. She emailed him and let him know the distribution of intimate photos without permission was criminal, and to delete the photos, the source says. In 2024, Payne was in a fragile state. In March, the same month he released Teardrops, he entered rehab in Spain, but left without completing the program. In April, Notice wrote his statement. Payne relapsed again and was hospitalized in serious condition, with professionals having to resort to resuscitation maneuvers in order to save his life. His father unsuccessfully tried to commit him to a psychiatric treatment center, which Payne opposed. Payne went through even more treatment programs without completing them. In the midst of it all, Payne's U.S. label Republican Records dropped him. What could have been a career comeback for Payne faltered when he failed to promote Teardrops. Several key promo opportunities, major interviews, performance, launch events, and content days and fan events were canceled, offers ignored, or major partner commitments unfulfilled, a source close to the situation. Moreover, his label rep worried about Payne's well-being when a few months later, when it was suggested that Payne tour South America, he was in no shape to go on the road. It was decided by the label, given these factors combined with concerns of his health, to terminate the working relationship rather than further release music. The split from Republic Records was legally formalized by September through Universal Capitol Records, kept its contract with Payne in the UK. But there was one period last year when the chaos around Payne seemed to subside. In early summer, Payne spent several weeks living at another property owned by Notice's friend, Gonzalo, a polo club in Wellington, Florida, outside of Miami. During his stay, sources say Payne appeared to be sober. Gonzalo recalls how Payne spent his days drawing and writing songs. Did they interview Gonzalo on this then? Wow. He took one video of Payne at a keyboard, playing a gentle R&B track. Avendano even suggested polo as a positive activity to help Payne's mental health. He has photos of Payne on horseback with the polo helmet and stick. Liam was playing polo and looked good. Payne's father, Jeff, recalled in a witness statement provided to the Argentinian prosecutors. But Payne was still consumed by his demons. Avendano says that the singer would talk about drinking a bottle of whiskey on performance nights with One Direction and how the band would evade chaperones by leaving hotels via balconies to parties. Okay, they interviewed Gonzalo for this shit, for this hit. I mean, it's a hit piece on Liam Payne. That's what it seems like to me. Okay. When he was a prisoner of his anxiety, he would stop you and ask, "Do you have a phone number for a drug dealer around here?" Avendano says, and I said, "No, Liam. No, no, no. I have no idea." He'd say, "Okay, okay, okay." Avendano says Payne also ruminated on his romantic relationships. He wished he could reconcile with Cole, worried that Cassidy's spending habits were out of control. Notice also claiming in a court record that Payne was financially supporting Cassidy. She could not be reached for comment. Not so. Wait a minute. Gonzalo Avendano basically said that Kate Cassidy's spending habits were out of control. And of course, she didn't make a comment to this. Where does the gold digger comment come from? Do y'all know? Because I don't know. Must have come from the sky. Somebody. I mean, come on, Kate. You thought you did your big one with the Sun interview. They just trashed you here, girl. But I think we kind of knew this. But anyways, moving on. It was during this time that Jeff Payne said that he started placing trust in Norris. Roger, in that moment, voluntarily offered to be in charge of Liam. Jeff said in his witness statement, Norris, Jeff claimed, was a frequent conduit between father and son. When Liam died, Jeff wrote it was Norris who informed him. Norris, for his part, has always maintained that he was only ever Payne's friend. A defamation lawsuit he filed against Jeff in Florida in January reads, Norris never agreed to be and was never the caretaker of Liam. Norris did not have a legal duty to Liam. Liam and Norris were friends and provided each other friend support. Yeah, my dear friend, my dear friend. I don't know how many times I probably Google search. You'll probably search in there, and dear is probably written, I don't know, 50,000 times in there. The source close to Hendry says that in early May 2024, Norris contacted Hendry. The source close to Hendry says that in early May 2024, Norris contacted Hendry, asking for advice on helping Payne with his addictions and his career. The offer seemed genuine. What? So Rogelio Norris contacted Maya Hendry about Liam Payne. The offer seemed genuine, and she knew Roger was trying to help, but there was something unsettling about it, the source says. She had been trying and failing for years to get Liam the help he needed. Roger didn't seem to understand the complexity of Liam's struggles. Liam could go months sober only to relapse, and it wasn't about staying clean. He needed to face the root of why he used drugs in the first place. Norris declined to comment on this claim. Oh, what? So the source is making this claim, not Maya direct, and Norris is declining to answer this. Why? Well, I think the reason why he's declining to answer it is because you're reaching out knowing the situation. This basically gives knowledge and credence to the argument that you knew what your friend was struggling with. So much so that you were contacting the ex-girlfriend for help on the issue. And you didn't understand how complex the issue was, according to this. In July, Payne signed a new contract with talent agent at CAA for all areas of representation, according to Billboard. The following month, Payne flew to Manchester, England, and served as a guest judge on the Netflix reality TV music competition, Building the Band. Crew members say Payne was affable and upbeat on set, even hung out at the rap party. Unusual behavior for a star. You remember people's names and was chatty and approachable. Simon Hay, the show's shooting producer director, says another crew member recalls Payne as a egalitarian and charming, and said he really wanted to help the eliminated contestant. That was the extra gut punch when I heard the terrible news, the source says. he wouldn't be able to help them anymore. I mean, he wanted to help them because he understood what it was like to be like in a show competing. He probably could relate to that, right? Uh, Backstreet Boys' AJ McLean, a fellow judge who has had his own struggles with addiction, recalled Payne's appearing sober on the set. He and I immediately connected on not only music level but a human level, McLean says. Like we were both living in a parallel life. There was a lot of funny boy band jabs that we would take at each other. He really had a quick wit to him. That nice, dry British humor. In a September Snapchat video announcing his and Cassidy's plans to visit Argentina, Payne said he was looking forward to attending Haran's Buenos Aires concert on October 2nd. It's been a while since me and Niall have spoken, he said. We got a lot to talk about, and I would like to square up a couple things with the boy. No bad vibes or anything like that. Just we need to talk. Notice says they met and Liam was happy. The day after Haran's concert, Payne went to the U.S. Embassy for his visa appointment. What should have been an easy task hit a speed bump, Notice said in a statement, when the authorities insisted on Argentina's psychiatrist to evaluate Payne because he had been to several rehab centers throughout the years. The decision was a matter of policy, but it created a ripple effect that kept Payne in Argentina for the next 2 weeks. Payne met with the doctor on October 6th or 7th, according to Notice statement, for a clinic visit and drug analysis, including blood work and x-ray. Notice wrote that the doctor said nothing, as far as I know, about Payne requiring medical attention. Rolling Stone was unable to reach the embassy to confirm Notice's account. At the same time, allegations of Payne's disturbing behavior started becoming public on October 6th in TikTok. Henry claimed the singer had been harassing her and her family. Ever since we broke up, he messaged me, will blow up my phone, and she said, alleging Payne used multiple phone numbers and iCloud accounts to message her. Payne's behavior was apparently even scarier than what Henry let on. In a cease and desist letter reviewed by Rolling Stone, which Henry's lawyer sent to Payne and his agents at CAA on October 9th, Henry reported receiving concerning messages from a stranger about Payne's behavior. Liam started blowing up my phone very recently on an iCloud email, and when I asked who it was, he started asking me if I wanted nudes of you, his current GF. The woman informed Henry, as seen in screenshots of messages included in the cease and desist letter. I said, absolutely not. Other screenshots, including sexual message, ostensibly of Payne, that Henry's lawyer censored in message from an email address known to be Payne's, with vulgar requests, send me fucking and sucking videos. Did I ever send you one of Maya's or any of my exes? Or any of my exes? It didn't end there. The letter alleged Payne had sent unsolicited and disturbing images and videos to Henry and her family, including pictures of his genitals, various videos of Payne's performing disturbing sexual acts on himself. He is in a room with a balcony. We're a little afraid. Oh man, this is where we're going to get to the other part. I mean, what do you guys think about Maya Henry's allegations? Where do you guys stand? Why was there any police reports filed against Liam Payne around this time? I'm kind of wondering about all of this. Henry's goal wasn't financial compensation. She wasn't seeking money, the source close to Henry says. Instead, she wanted to force Liam into a rehabilitation program, requiring him to undergo 6 months of intensive treatment followed by monitored aftercare plan. It was about holding Liam accountable for his criminal actions and ensuring he received the help that he so desperately needs. So did she file a police report to hold him accountable? Like, are we saying this now? I'm struggling with Maya a bit because I'm like, how active was she in his life after they already broke up, if anything? When Payne's father, Jeff, who had flown to Florida to check on his son between rehab stints earlier in the year, learned about the cease and desist letter. He worried about how his son was processing Henry's accusations. I understand the allegations really affected him emotionally, even if Roger and his girlfriend Cassidy told me he was fine. Jeff wrote it in his witness statement. I understand that they didn't speak about it much with Liam because he was very closed off about personal issues. A conflict between Henry and Payne had been brewing for months. In May, Henry published Looking Forward about her engagement to Payne. In the book, she described an abusive relationship between a naive model named Mallory and a singer named Oliver Smith, a former member of a fictional boy band called Five Forward. I have never read this, and you guys have been saying you need to read this book because there's just so many connections to things. And I'm like, I mean, already it just looks like it's this Five Forward. One Direction, Five Forward. Okay. It was written as a memoir, basically, the source close to Henry says. But then she made a little changes throughout for creative reasons. Some of the dialogue is fake, loosely based off of this relationship, right? If I'm understanding. In Looking Forward, the pop star Oliver takes cocaine, MDMA, and pills, sexed other women, and threatened suicide. If Mallory were to leave him, there was one time while under the influence, Liam tried to leap off the top of his penthouse balcony, and Maya had to stop him. The source says of an incident in the book that was apparently based on a real experience. In another scene, Oliver shoves Mallory, breaks a light fixture, and chases her with an axe. She calls his manager, who tells her to leave him, but she doesn't. After an incident where the pop star snorts coke in front of the girl's mother and grandmother, the source confirmed it was real, adding that a young cousin was also present. She worked up the courage to leave him. As shocking as the allegations are, Henry may have left the worst of them off the page, with the source adding that Payne would just flip a switch when he was high on drugs. There were certain things that she still feels like she's processing. It's one thing to talk about how your fiance texted your mom his dick pic, which did happen. It's another thing to deal with some of this abuse and stuff and talk about it publicly. I stood by him in his darkest moments, through the chaos, through the pain, through things that broke me in ways I can't explain, Henry said in a statement to Rolling Stones. And yet, when it was all over, I was left with nothing but emptiness. The love I gave, the sacrifices I made, they weren't enough because they never could be. I wasn't just heartbroken. I felt defrauded. So many women in my position would. But what I do know is this: it wasn't about me or anything I did. It was about struggles beyond my control. And in the end, I had to choose myself. I had to walk away no matter how much it hurt, because staying in this world meant losing myself. Even though the novel recounts horrific personal details from Payne and Henry's engagement, Norris claims that Payne didn't even seem bothered by it. He mentioned it once, but he wasn't concerned at all, he insisted. A few weeks after Payne's death, Henry discovered even more alleged instances of disturbing intimate photos taken during their time together. According to one source, one of Payne's friends reached out to her, the source said, and revealed that Liam had been sharing the intimate photos with them and others for a long time, well beyond what Maya had initially realized, even dating back to their engagement. The source says that Henry views Payne's actions not just as a betrayal, but a criminal act, and hired lawyers in the UK to seek legal remedies. After everything, what hurts the most is that even after his death, I'm left with the aftermath of his actions that continue to unfold. Henry says in her statement, as I've uncovered the extent of non-consensual image sharing, I'm faced with the complexities of grieving for someone I cared so deeply about, despite the pain that they have caused me. Payne's patterns continued into his new relationship. Sources say in early 2024, after Cassidy caught Payne sexting other women, she revoked his phone access, forcing him to use his laptop as means of communication. I stuck with Liam through thick and thin, Cassidy said in a February interview with The Sun. And I think love is so optimistic. You just hope everything at the end will work out. On October 12th, 2 weeks after Payne and Cassidy arrived together in Buenos Aires, she left in a video posted that showed people packing her bags into a car. Cassidy said she's grown homesick. We're supposed to be there for like 5 days, and it turned out to be 2 weeks. And I was like, I need to go home. They had a happy goodbye. Notice said he wanted to marry her 2 days before he died. He asked me if I wanted to be his best man. If I could see into the future, I would have never left Argentina, Cassidy told the Sun. When I left Argentina, we had such a great day, and he was in such a good headspace. We were just full of love and never would have expected his death to occur. You could tell on his face that Liam was unwell. Years ago, the district of Palermo, where the Casa Azul stands, appealed to the Argentinian film producers for this cheap studio space, ample parking. People started calling the neighborhood Hollywood. There was a small park, boutiques, mom and pop shops, plenty of cafes. Local TV stars still frequent the area. They'll tell you it's unusual for celebridades internacionales like Payne to stay at the boutique hotel. Shortly after his arrival, prosecutors now allege Payne recruited a Casa Sur employee to retrieve drugs for him. Payne also met up with Brian Paez, a waiter at a nearby restaurant, whom he messaged at close to 2 in the morning on October 14th, according to screenshots Paez posted on Instagram. You around? What's your number? Payne asked. We took drugs together, but I never took drugs to him or accepted any money. I cannot. Paez told news outlet Noticias in November. They spent night together, he said. We consumed drugs because the truth is that something intimate happened. Something intimate happened. This was used here as well. Later, Paez denies having sex with Payne. Yeah. Payne refused to see Notice. Instead, he wanted to be alone. According to Notice's statement, later Notice went with Payne to take a visa photo. When they saw each other that night, Notice wrote, Payne's room contains no traces of narcotic consumption. An employee of the sushi spot where Notice and Payne dined tells Rolling Stone. You could tell on his face that Liam was unwell. At about 9:45 in the morning on October 16th, the day Payne died, he messaged a sex worker he found online. Want to play? I have all day. I'd give you 5,000 US. You come to my room. He then asked if friend would join. While he waited, Payne met Notice for a bite at Sakuro, the restaurant connected to the hotel. Payne ordered a whiskey. In a statement, Notice says he protested, but Payne drank it anyways. The singer had his laptop with him and said that he was working on music. He was messaging his friends, Nicole Schitzinger, Avendano, and Jody Richards, a performance coach from Payne's youth, all reported hearing from him that day. Richards said that Payne seemed upbeat. Notice and Payne went up to the singer's room, where Notice personally did not detect the presence of drugs or signs of consumption. Okay. As he wrote in his statement to the judge, Notice left shortly after 11 a.m. and the women Payne had invited arrived half an hour later with alcohol for him. At about 2 p.m., Payne had refused to pay the sex workers. The women complained to the hotel staff and receptionist called Notice, who said it wasn't his problem. Still, he headed to the hotel at about 3:30 or 4 p.m. According to prosecutors, Payne bought cocaine from a hotel employee and the sex workers left. At around this time, Notice saw the mess in Payne's room. Photos from the scene taken after Payne's death showed a shattered TV with spider web of cracks and drug paraphernalia like white powder, aluminum foil, and a makeshift pipe. Notice expressed his displeasure with Payne for breaking the TV. He wrote in his statement, they said goodbye at around 4:15 after Payne said he was going to meet a friend whom Notice believed was another hotel guest Payne had met in the lobby. Instead, Payne had to break down Watson, the groom staying a couple of floors below, witness. Over the next 45 excruciating minutes, Payne's behavior worried hotel staff to the point that they kept 5 staffers standing watch outside his door. Why take him back to the room if there's a balcony? They left around 5:03, according to Notice's statement, based on the security footage allegedly reviewed by his legal team. I never imagined that he would die, says Salinas, the masseuse who helped move Payne from the lobby. If I had known Payne room was destroyed, I would have told them to keep him in the lobby and keep him restrained. Casa Sur receptionist Gracie, who declined to comment for this article, called 911 twice around 5 o'clock. We need you to send someone urgently because, I don't know whether his life may be in danger. He said in his first call requesting medical help, but urging against a police presence. He is in a room with a balcony. And while we're a little afraid, on his second call, he asked for medical assistance. Help arrived too late. What happened to the watch? Do y'all remember the different statements that the prostitutes made? What happened to the watch? Where's this watch? Even Brian Pius said, well, he offered me his Rolex watch on that TMZ interview. Where is this Rolex watch? That's what I want to know. Let's keep going. Laying blame and digging for truth. Throughout December, prosecutors compiled a criminal case to hold those who might have contributed to Payne's death accountable. December 27th, they indicted 5 people. We know this. All 5 have maintained their innocence. A lawyer for Pius denies the allegations. They're looking for guilty parties and accusing innocent people of committing crimes. Pereira's lawyer denies his client ever supplied Payne drugs and calls him completely innocent. And while Martin, Gracia, and Norris remain free, Pereira and Paez were taken into custody and ordered to be held in preventative detention because of the severity of the charges against both. So again, both face 4 to 15 years in prison. If convicted, the charges against Norris, Martin, and Gracia carry a possible sentence of 1 to 5. Here at press time, an appeal hearing was scheduled for February 11th to decide if the charges align with the evidence presented. The judge of Buenos Aires Criminal Court has not yet ruled if there's enough evidence for the cases to go to trial. It could be months before there's a final resolution. The judge ruled that Payne was trying to leave from the balcony of his hotel when he fell. Although the judge acknowledged that Payne's intoxicated state may have contributed to the tragedy, she was not swayed by the theories that Payne had fainted, jumped, or lost his balance before his fall. She nevertheless suggested that those indicted bear some criminal culpability. I do not believe that Martin, Gracia, or Norris planned and wanted Payne's death, but created a legally disproved risk. She wrote, Martin and Gracia, the judge added, were imprudent in allowing Payne to be taken to his room and left alone. A source close to Buenos Aires prosecutor adds, Martin and Gracia knew for 2 or 3 days that he was breaking things, consuming drugs and alcohol. It wasn't hidden. Gracia denies allegations. I was not responsible for Liam Payne's personal care, neither legal nor within the contractual framework of a hotel service provided by my employer, he wrote in a statement he gave to the judge. Gracia also said that in his opinion, Norris was far more responsible for the singer. He referred to Norris as Payne's manager and alleged that Norris reserved Payne's room at Casa Sur on his credit card. The judge, meanwhile, describes Norris as Payne's guarantor. She wrote that when Norris last saw Payne at the hotel approximately 50 minutes before his death, Norris should have seen that Payne was intoxicated and vulnerable. Prosecutors initially sought to charge Norris with more serious abandonment of a person followed by death, as well as supply and facilitation of narcotics. We kind of what was that all about? The abandonment charge was eventually downgraded to negligence, and the drug charge was dropped. Norris denies helping Payne acquire drugs. Of course, I never gave him money for drugs. He says, I never gave him drugs. I don't drink alcohol, and I never interacted with a dealer in my life. No, he was just telling them where to find them. You can find him at a club. You can find him at, different places. I mean, are we going to miss out the messages between them? Okay. Still, Jeff casts blames on Norris, claiming that his witness statement that his son's friend broke the format of care in Buenos Aires when he booked Payne his own hotel room after Cassidy's departure. That's how this all happened. Jeff stated, Roger knew the objective of the group was to keep Liam busy, he wrote, defining the group as Norris, Cassidy, and Payne's bodyguard. Norris, Cassidy, and Payne's bodyguard. Kate, you're in this group. Girl, you are. He wrote, defining the group whom Payne had fired at the end of the summer. he couldn't leave him in a vulnerable situation. In early January, Notice filed a civil suit in Florida federal court accusing Jeff of making false and defamatory statements to the Argentina prosecutors. Payne estate denied the allegations on Jeff's behalf. Ultimately, Notice suggests that Payne was responsible for himself. He was a fucking free person, Notice said. Did he really say he was a fucking free person? He did whatever the fuck he wanted. Nobody would stop him. I asked him to promise me that we'd both be okay. In early December, 2 months after Payne's death, the lobby of Casa Sur Palermo is filled with a flurry of holiday activity. The staff is gathered for a photo shooting, donning Santa hats and glasses while Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. Y'all remember that video I played? Upstairs, the mood is more subdued. The hotel halls are dark, dimly lit, black walls broken by black doors, room numbers in gold. In front of room 310, a security guard sits in a chair. Wow. Right outside the hotel is a memorial to Payne that a few dedicated fans have tended to daily. Carnations and roses in white, purple, and pink, and a few big sunflowers sit at the base of the tree, covering the trunk and the surrounding planters are photos and signs. Handwritten notes. How can I forget someone who gave me so much to remember, reads one, quoting Payne's song, Remember. Your memory will stay alive until my heart stops beating, goes another. On December 11th, some of the fans who attend to the memorial gather outside the prosecutor's office in Buenos Aires, an effort to show the officials that were following the case closely, explained organizer Luana Bustamante, 26. The following weekend, on December 14th, 2 days before the 2-month anniversary of Payne's death, a group of 30 meet at the Plaza Libertad and march to the nearby courthouse chanting, Justicia por Liam, Justicia por Liam. It is important to fight against this injustice, Carla Reyes, 20, says. He deserved a longer, more successful life. He deserved to see his son grow up. She adds, I think this can actually make a difference. I hope they see us. If there's more rallies, I'll be here supporting. Reyes says she met Payne outside of a different Buenos Aires hotel last October, waiting almost 2 hours to say hello as the singer signed autographs and took photos with fans. It was the best day of my life, she says, smiling. She'd been a casual fan of One Direction, but was drawn to Payne during his solo career, in part because of his willingness to speak openly about his struggles with addiction and mental health. Payne's song, Live Forever, the one Sam Preston wrote about his own substance abuse issues and near fatal fall, had a special, Reyes says, assuaging her during her own bouts with anxiety and depression. His music helped me when I needed him most. Reyes says that she was nervous meeting one of her heroes, but when she spoke with Payne, he offered compassion and comfort. On a piece of paper, he drew her an arrow, like the ones tattooed on his right arm. And Reyes has since tattooed the drawing onto his own wrist. She carries his laminated autograph wherever she goes. I asked him to promise me that we'd both be okay, Reyes remembers. He had all the patience in the world and said, yes, we'll both be okay. Everything will be okay. And that, my friends, was the Rolling Stone article, who, depending on how long it takes me to edit, I might release the following day. I'm waiting for more court updates. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm going to link the whole article in the description box. You guys can read it there. I read portions of it because it's so lengthy. I don't know. I have to process this a little bit more too because it's just so much. I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out. Bye, guys.